In this video, we're moving on to the Third Legion, the once noble sons of Fulgrim, who slowly descend into excess and horror under the terrible influence of the Prince of Pleasure. This is a simple, accessible paint scheme designed to help you get your Emperor's Children onto the tabletop quickly, and honestly, I think this one turned out pretty well. So let's head over to the painting table. For the Emperor's Children here, I'm using Mark IV armor, and I've primed him in grey. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off by giving him a nice coat of the aptly named Phoenician Purple. Now I'm using a wet palette for this, so that helps keep the paint nice and usable for quite a while. I'm using a red grass everlasting one. Is it red grass? I forget. And this is actually a rather excellent tool. And basically, just going to go around and we're going to get a nice thin coat of this on. We'll probably have to do a second one. And the whole point of this is just to sort of establish that that basic colour. It's actually a really nice purple on there, isn't it? At least I think it is. Yeah, that helps get the colour established. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go away. I'm going to finish getting this painted. We'll come back when we have all the colours on there. Well, all of this colour. Okay, for the next step, we're going to use a contrast paint, Magos Purple. Get it in focus there. And this just helps give a nice, just shades it all and gives a nice, good purple sort of lovely, I think looks perfect for Emperor's Children. So, so essentially basically cover the whole of the armour in this lovely old Magos Purple and let that dry. As I say, I think it gives it a really nice finish, as well as, you know, shading all, doing what a contrast does, basically. Just glazing it and giving it a nice different colour, and then shading the recesses, a bit like a wash and a glaze at the same time, which is exactly what a contrast is. And I hope you will agree when it's finished that it gives a nice finish. So we'll just get that finished up and we'll come back and show you the results. Okay, next step, we're gonna... Okay, I'm having to re-record this bit after the fact because... what on earth? By the skin of my pants. I'd gotten as far as in my planning how I was going to do this, because I've never painted Emperor's Children before. I'd gotten as far as my head as planning it to the wash and then the highlight. I was kind of half thinking, well, maybe we'll go back to the Phoenician Purple. And I was like, no, I think I need something a bit more, I don't know, stark. Is that the right word? I don't know. But yeah, so just carefully go around on all the edges and sort of highlight them up with this. And I actually think this isn't too bad. I tested this on the backpack first just to make sure it wasn't going to be completely stupid. And I suppose if you wanted to, after this, I'm not going to do this, but if you wanted to go to another level, you could do like an even thinner highlight if you've got the skills to do that. I do not. Of Cacophony Purple. But I'm just doing Genestealer Purple because that's what my skill level is. And this is more about just giving ideas for the schemes rather than saying, hey, this is the best way to do this. But actually, yeah, this isn't turning out too badly. Yeah, as I said, I'm making this up by the skin of my pants. I sort of originally thought, well, maybe I'll do a metallic. Oh, that's maybe a bit too thick on there. It is. I'm going to have to go back and fix that up. I said, you don't come to me for expert painting. So I'll get that finished, tidied up, and I will, and I'll come back in a minute, and we'll have this all highlighted up, and then we'll start on the metallics, I guess. Now we've established that lovely armor color. I really like what we've done there. I'm going to start working on the metallics. Now I'm using, for the silvers, Iron Hand Steel. I just think Emperor's Children should have a colour for their metallics that really is very nice and shiny. So we're going to use Iron Hand Steel, and we're just going to paint around all these metallics, weapons and tubings and stuff, and his power sword here, and then we're going to come back and show you what we got. Okay, now the metals are done and dry, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shade them. So what I'm going to do is I'm doing two different ways of doing this. For the sword, I've taken Basilicanum Grey contrast and I've thinned it down 50-50 with contrast medium. And I just think that, I think the sword, I like the sword to have a slightly different finish to the rest of the thing. Now, often as a case, sometimes I'll do layers going up. So like it's almost like it gets expressively darker and it's almost black at the top, sort of like blended up. But to be honest, I am absolutely terrible at that. So I'm not even going to attempt it for the camera. Note, no chance you will ever get me to try that on camera because I'm just not that brave. And then for the rest of the metals, well, the rest of the silver metal that is, we're just going to use Nuln Oil. Good old traditional Nuln Oil. Which is absolutely wonderful for shading sort of cleanish metallics. And what I'll do is I'll come back in a moment when they're dry. We're going to put on some more metallics. Golds this time. So heading back to our Emperor's Children Legionnaire after a little bit of time for the wash and contrast to dry, we're going to hit it with some more with another metallic, in this case gold. And I'm using Retributor Armour from Games Workshop. But again, any gold you want to use, we got the shinier and nicer the better. And we're just going to get that on a few little bits and bobs here. So we want the shoulder pad trim. I want a couple of bits. I want to do these armor studs here. Bits of the bits for the sword, so the hilt here and the crossbar. And what I'll do is I'll go away, I'll finish all of these bits, and then I'll be back and we can shade them. Now, what we're going to do with our golds is, now that we've finished them, we're going to wash them with Reikland Fleshshade. Now, I think personally Guilliman Flesh might be a bit better, but honestly I have, like, thanks to sort of subscribing to the magazine thing, I've got like 3 spare tubs of Reikland Fleshshade, so I figure I'll use some Reikland Fleshshade on this guy. It's not the reason why I used it yesterday on the Dark Angel, that is actually simply the fact that I think that is the best way to do it, but I'm using it here simply because, well, I think it's going to be a good way to get some of this used. But yes, Guilliman Flesh might work better. So again, we'll just get that all finished. Again, what we'll do is we'll leave that to dry, and then we'll come back and we'll do the next step, which is going to be sort of, I think we're going to put some, we're going to work on this gun here next. Now with our Emperor's Children Marine here, I think this guy's a sergeant, I don't know. I just sort of printed a few guys, and I was like, right, yeah, we'll do a few of these guys and we'll see what we can do. We're going to paint the weapon casing of this Volkite Serpenta. We're going to paint that with Corvus Black. I did also paint the shoulder pad here, which is Legion badge would go on, the markings, with Corvus Black as well. Of course, you can paint that purple or have it Corvus Black, whichever you prefer. Okay, so that's done there. What I'm going to do now is we're going to highlight some of the metallics. So we're going to start off, just grab the colours I need off the shelf. If I'd been sensible, I would have got them all prepared, but I'm not sensible, so that's not going to happen, is it? So we have some Stormhost Silver for our silver parts. So we're just going to use this Stormhost Silver to sort of edge highlight our silver areas here. So like the I'm terrible at highlighting. I just don't have the skill for it, but you know, I try. Okay, they get the silver on, so we'll do this sword, at least this side. Do this little nodule up in the middle there, because that's important to get that done. And we're gonna do this side of the sword, and then we'll show what we're doing with the gold. So that's that there. And then with the gold, we're going to use Liberator Gold. I'm getting this on screen, aren't I? Terrible when painting, I can't see it on the screen. I might have to set up a mirror or something. So we're going to do the Liberator Gold to highlight the gold. Oh, get a bit of this. Just put a bit on the front of these bonding studs there. Now that that's actually finished, I'm going to quickly, because it's drying already, I'm going to quickly highlight the Volkite Serpenta's weapon casing. I do have a Mechanica Standard Grey that I'm going to use for that. Let's find it. If you're doing different armies, it sort of helps to sort of, rather than doing, like if I was, like I've used black yesterday for, well, the other day, for the Dark Angels guy. I use Game Black Ginge to highlight that black, but I find, you know, if you sort of differentiate, it looks even better, and plus you get variety. So I'm going to do that. Also, while I'm here, I'm going to take some Corax White, because we're doing something slightly different with the coils for the Volkite. So we've got these power cores. I'm gonna paint these with Corax White. I'm being bad. I'm taking it straight from the pot. Tell me off. Because we're going to use a different type of material, a different type of paint to sort of achieve an effect on this. So I'm just going to get that in there to sort of get that white. Just going to have a nice sort of glowing effect paint on here. So I'll go away, I'll finish up highlighting the metallics, and then we'll come back and we'll do some more bits and bobs. Okay, I'm having to record this little bit after the fact because for some reason the microphone was on mute. Annoying. But what we're going to do here is we're going to take some white scar and we're just going to pop that into the eye lenses there, just filling it down a bit further, just because, well, it's you need to have it really thin for this. Get that in those eye lenses and you get an excellent basis for the next step, which will be to pop a colour in there. Now, once that's done, we're just going to clean off the brush and we're going to work on the power nodes of the power sword. Now, back in the past, I've used Nylak Oxide for this one, but recently, I've really come to love Aethermatic Blue to contrast paint, and it looks really, really nice. It's a really lovely colour, and I really want excuses to use it more, but it's just one of those paints that's just really lovely. I've used it for windows on Aeronautica models, but in here, I find putting it onto a power node for all your power swords looks really, really good. And we're just going to sort of reinforce that that colour here of a couple of coats. Left the model a bit too low on there, but yeah, get a couple of coats of this on and it just looks really, really, really good. Okay, so that bit's done, just about. And yeah, okay. Right, next off, it is really warm, absolutely boiling. So that white scar, that I put in the eye lens, has dried no problem. And what we're going to do is we're going to get a little colour on there. Now, Emperor's Children work. I always seem to see them with blue eye lenses. So what we're going to do is we're going to use another contrast paint, Frosthart. And we're just going to drop that in there. I don't know if this is going to work, but oh, actually that looks really good. Really good. Yeah, I'm liking that. Yeah, that looks smashing. Okay, so next step, what we're going to do is we're going to we're going to paint the coils on the Volkite Serpentor. Now, I'm using for this an Army Painter Fanatics range paint, an effect paint called Radiation Glow. It's an orange paint similar to Tesseract Glow in the Citadel range. The great thing about Army Painter is they actually do a few different colours like this. And this is a lovely orange colour, and I thought it was just like really nice to contrast against the purple there. They also do a green similar to the Necrons, a blue Plasma Core Glow, Lens Flare Glow for yellow, and a pink one as well. I wish they did a red, but this is an absolutely... I think this looks really, really nice. And you could take this one step further by maybe highlighting the highest parts of the coils with white to sort of really look like it's glowing. But yeah, this is a really nice colour, and yeah, I was sort of half on the in the mind of maybe using a red contrast, but I thought this would look all right. So let's just get that colour fully established on there and painted. Yeah, looking really, really nice. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I think that looks superb. Okay. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to actually do the leather on the hilt. I think I missed this off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use Barak-Nar Burgundy, a Citadel paint, and we're just going to sort of put that on there to sort of make it a nice burgundy, a burgundy leather. And what I'll do is, and I think I did this off camera if I recall, is I'll be washing that with a Basilicanum Grey contrast paint. So let's get that watered down on the palette. And we're gonna get that onto. Yeah, that's brilliant. As I said, it's a nice color. It's sort of like a darker screamer pink. But what I'll do is, as I said, I will wash that with Barak-Nar Burgundy, and it really makes it nice and dark. Lovely, lovely color. Okay. Right, as for the next step, we're going to take some Black Legion, and we're just going to pop this into the ribbing there, just to sort of do the undersuit type of thing. Now, I was thinking originally doing this silver, but I think black actually works a bit better for this one. Although you could always paint it silver and then put black over it to sort of give it a sort of black metallic sheen. Just getting it in the leg joints there. And I think that looks, yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, contrast works really well for this. So let's get that on there. Yeah, and I think with that, the model is done. And here is the finished model. I came up with this scheme more or less on the fly, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's a strong foundation, and I think you could push it further with more details or some advanced techniques. It's a good basis. For the base, I went with Black Sands look, inspired by Ispan 5. I used a mixture of bird grit and bird sand. I got a pack of these from Wilkinson's years ago. I rarely have to top these up. I think this pack has lasted me like 7 years. It's like 2 packs, cost me like £1.50 for each at the time. I just mixed it up with a big box and it's great. Now I painted that with Army Painter Matte Black, then dry brushed with Dawnstone and Administratium Grey, finishing off with a wash of Nuln Oil. And I think that gives a nice sort of black sandy look there. Now, if you did find this helpful, or you've got your own take on painting the Emperor's Children, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear how others are tackling the 3rd Legion. And if you want to follow along as I work through all 18 Legions, don't forget to like and subscribe. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one when we will be tackling the Iron Warriors.